global happenings today. We communicate, we analyze global news.
Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. The issue of June 12 election, which was dead, buried, and forgotten, was raised back to life by Lamido. And the presidency did not find it funny, considering the fact that Tinubu was in the middle of it and he was being indicted, accused of being fully involved in the annulment of June 12 election, that even the Nadeko that he said he was using to defend democracy, that he was using it to fight against Abacha, who was, the military junta. But interestingly, the presidency came up and replied. And in the reply, Ananoga did not just stop with Lamido. He dragged in Tony Aneni, who is now late. He was national chairman of SDP, the Social Democratic Party. He dragged him in. That both of them team up together and work with the defeated National Republican Convention, that's NRC, to deny Abiola his mandate. But right now, the son of Aneni, though Aneni is late, but he left some sons behind, and his son has decided to respond to it. And he had debunked Onanoga's account of the role played by his father. He expressed disappointment that such a lie can be issued in the name of the president. In his rebuttal, which he shared on his X handle, Ose Aneni, that's the son of Anthony Aneni, said that your account, he was talking directly to Ananoga this time around, and he says that your account of my father's involvement in June 12 is, to put it politely, untrue. It is disappointing that you choose to use uncut language to describe Chief Tony Aneni, and in an official communication from the presidency, not less. I will rise above the emotional batting that this conversation has clearly sparked and will speak only to the truth. I will also assume that your mischaracterization of historical events stem from ignorance, not malice. In contrast to the claim by Onanoga, Ose said his father, Tony Aneni, warned Abiola that his close dealings with Abacha would destroy his chances of reclaiming his mandate. In his word, the son of Aneni said Chief Abiola initially fled the country after the annulment of June 12 presidential election by General Babangida. You mentioned that MKO eventually returned. When he did, one of his first visits was to my father, then national chairman of the SDP in Benin City. True to form, my father confronted Abiola. He accused him to his face of abandoning the party and his supporters in the immediate aftermath of the annulment, while they risked life and limb defending his mandate. Ose further noted that he is not aware of any form of animosity between his late father and President Tinubu, adding that many key players in the June 12 episode are still alive and can verify what transpired back at the time. According to him, he says, now, I am not aware of any animosity that ever existed between my father and President Tinubu. In fact, my father acknowledged that Tinubu had initially spoken out against the delay in announcing the result of the June 12 election. It was the only time he mentioned Tinubu in his 260-page book. I have no personal knowledge of what role your principal played after that, though I find it curious that you consider his early visit to Abacha immediately after a coup to remove the ING, that's a MKO, helped bet a mark of honor. Like Lamino said, many of the key players in that chapter of our history, like IBB, Abdusalam Abubakar, Oyegun, Ikimi, Mark, Ayu, Dele Momodu, and others, including Kola, MKO's son, are still alive. We are also fortunate that my father wrote his own version of events before he passed. And then his son cautioned Onanoga to avoid embarking on such historical misadventure in the future. In his words, he says, it is however unfortunate that I have had to defend my father's name against a lie, and doubly unfortunate that that lie was issued in the name of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. I had hoped that this level of toxicity left with the former occupants of your office. I am happy to send you a copy of my father's memoir, My Life and Nigerian Politics, to help you avoid this sort of historical misadventure in future. That was the position of the son of Tony Aneni, the former national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, the party that won election for MKO Abiola in 1993. He had to come out and speak because of what Onanoga said about his father, that his father, alongside Lamido, were the ones who were behind MKO Abiola being stripped of, his victory in the June 12 election. So the young man had to come out to clarify the name of the father, pointing to the book that the father wrote, which contained everything that has to do with his political life as at when he was alive. And this had triggered a lot of reactions from Nigerians. And don't forget that Lamido said a lot of things that kind of was in sync with what, our investigative journalist, Hundayin, said about that June 12 Wahaha. But I personally feel that there's no need to begin to beat up sentiments over it. What is most important right now in Nigeria is the maturity of our democracy, which unfortunately has been an issue of concern to many Nigerians. We're expecting that as a noun, mean that we had tested and democracy at one time, it fell and it came back again, and those who are even in the corridor of power doing this business of democracy were strong advocate of democracy. Expectation was that we are going to search and there will be provable evidence that truly these so-called defenders of democracy will take back power to the people and make the people feel the impact of governance. But unfortunately, that's not the case. I mean, look at the case of insecurity in the country, economic downtime that we're suffering right now. So many things are nosediving. Politicians are busy talking about their re-election in 2027, which is like 2 years from now. I mean, that had been an issue of concern. And also if you look at this whole issue, you realize that Lamido, that was the key reason that Lamido came up with all those accusations, that the fact that people are talking about Bola Tinubu as an advocate of democracy, that is a lie. He's not an advocate of democracy, and started spilling the beans as we saw it. But all of it was towards the fact that this man has not done better as an advocate of democracy. And he says is ready to join any coalition to throw out Bola Tinubu from office. Before we now engage in all the way the Onanoga now came up and started talking about different things. It's important that the president should be in the full know about some of the things that have been happening in this country, so that he can write his name, in democracy as one of the best presidents that have existed. Because I tell you the truth, whether we like it or not, it is not the politicians that will tell you what is happening in your government. It is the common man that will tell you. And if you go across Nigeria, just take a walk, disguise yourself. Now, that's what one of the leaders told President Bola Tinubu. If you feel that Nigerians really hate you, or maybe it's the leaders that really hate you, disguise yourself and go into the street and ask, like 20, 30 people in the street, and said, how is the governance of Bola Tinubu, the government of Bola Tinubu? And you'll be shocked what will hit you. Some of them had promised never to bring such a person in again. And if you feel that they are lying, why not allow the election to be free and fair, no form of rigging anyway, and watch how you will nosedive? I think that should be the main concern of the media aid of President Bola Tinubu, trying to let him understand that there's more for him to do within this short period of time that he has to campaign with works before the Nigerian people. He should do it so that he can earn the votes of Nigerians. That's where I would like to leave it. Let's meet in our conversation and talk more.